Thank you for watching our show and welcome back. In a world where inspiration and purpose is so needed, we find it here on Inspirational Whispers. Remember, it only takes a whisper to change someone's life. So today I'd like to welcome you. I have Debra Poneman, who is an award-winning speaker, best-selling author, sought after seminar leader and talk show host and on-demand guest. I mean, the list goes on, and you've been doing this since the 80s, way before social media was out there. You were rocking this. So, Deborah, I want to just ask you, a little bit about your story. What, where did it start? Where did you begin to feel inspiration and begin to inspire others?
Well, it actually started in the 70s because, and by the way, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here. I started meditating in 70 and became a meditation teacher. And for the decade of the 70s, I was either teaching meditation, I was an administrator at Maharishi International University in Fairfield, Iowa, or I was with the great master Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Towards the end of that decade, I realized that woman does not live by mantra alone, and I needed to make some money. Right, darn. But I needed to make some money, and all I wanted to do is teach meditation, but I thought, okay, how to make people make money fast? And I thought, well, first of all, they sell investments, and the other thing they do is they live in LA. So I moved to Los Angeles from my meditation community in Iowa, and I started selling investments, and I was a dismal failure. Well, there's no such thing as failure, but I didn't sell any investments except one to my dad because he felt so sorry for me. But, we make plans and God laughs. God had a big laugh about me thinking that I was going to go to LA and sell investments and make a lot of money. But the creator, the God of your understanding, had a different path in store for me. And one day, one of my colleagues said, do you want to go to a money seminar? And I said, yes, because I thought it would help make me a little bit better at what I was doing. And I walk in, and it's the new age crowd. It's not the usual suits, right? And this was 1980. And the guy was talking about the law of attraction. And he was talking about how, however we vibrate with our thoughts and our words, that's what we draw into our lives, right? This was decades before The Secret made this concept a household, kind of reality. And he said that if there is a tuning fork that's a B flat, it cannot draw into itself F sharp. It repels F sharp. It repels everything that is unlike itself. And if you're always talking about how poor you are and you'll never get out of debt and you'll never have this, and you're just like always oh, my life is so awful. If you're vibrating like that, there is no way that you could draw prosperity into your life. It's just a law of physics, basically. And then he was saying the way to draw prosperity into your life is by wishing other people success and prosperity, because that's such a high vibration that it opens you to success and prosperity, helping people, mentoring people, and giving. And he just said all of these things. I thought, oh my goodness, there's not only a science of meditation where you can create inner silence, but there's also a science of how you can create outer success. So I went home, every cell in my body was vibrating with the truth of what this guy was saying. And I decided that why I really came to LA was to go to that one lecture. And I decided that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Teach people meditation, but also teach people the energetic ways to create success and prosperity. And that's what I did. I actually quit my job the next day. I mean, not that I was any kind of big hero. Remember, I never sold an investment. I was like, oh, wow, you quit your job. That's so brave. Not. But, and I started studying the great masters of success and prosperity, like Napoleon Hill and Wallace Wattles and Florence Shinn and Catherine Ponder. And I was like a kid in the candy store, because I realized that success does not have to be trial and error and bumping your head up against a wall.
No. And I'm gonna pause you right there, if that's okay, because what you described and what you did, a lot of people with coming out of the COVID situation, and really they stopped their jobs completely. Some were laid off. It's been a really rough time for people, and they're starting to get the wheels turning. They're trying to get back out there, and they don't want to go back to that same job, but they have that barrier of like, this is what I'm told to do, right? Do you have that? Like, this is how you make money, and you join the financial industry and you go to LA. Did you have any resistance there, or?
Did I have resistance? No, because I was so innocent. All I had done my entire adult life was teach meditation. That's all I wanted to do. But, I had no health insurance. I had no car insurance. I didn't even have a car to insure. So I thought, how do I make money fast? I didn't think about what my passion was, what made me happy. But what I want to tell people who are in a situation like that now, first of all, I would recommend that you are incredibly grateful for the job that you have. Give thanks every day. Look for what's good about it. Do a great job at what you're doing. But also ask yourself, what does make me happy? What are my passions? Just write a list of everything that you would like to do. When I got home from that seminar, the truth is, I kind of truncated the story. Every cell in my body was vibrating, but it wasn't until I went home and I wrote a list, he told us to do this, of all of the things that make me happy. That would be the components of my ideal career. So I wrote travel, talk, write best-selling books, go on TV, work with people who I love, laugh until I cry until I laugh with those people, contribute to the world. So I would say to your listeners that if you don't know what you want to do next, write a list of what makes you happy, and then give it to this intelligence that is that the universe wants you to succeed. We live in a benevolent universe, but the universe can't bring you what you want if you don't know what you want. It's like you can't complain if you haven't gotten something from Amazon, if you haven't ordered anything. So put your work into life. Bring me a career that has all of these components. But in the meantime, do a great job at what you're doing.
So what happens when the person, or I'd love to hear I'm very curious about your point of view on this. What happens if the person doesn't have the job right now? Right now, they don't have the job, and you said, look at the job and be grateful for the one you have. What happens when they're not in that place to feel that gratitude?
Well, it's a kind of an interesting question. And if they need the money, they just go get a job. But I'm not one of these people that says, don't do the job unless your heart sings. No. If you have 3 kids and you have to put food on the table, go get a job at Starbucks. Go do what you have to do, because until you have money coming in, I'm not one of these, wave the magic wand type of teachers, because I've seen so many people wave the magic wand and it didn't work. Just write it down and it'll manifest. No, get a job.
Be grateful for the money that's coming in. And when you're in that place, can you have that job? Then the gratitude can build.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you do what you got to do, and then you have the gratitude for the job, and then you start having the desire to manifest your heart's desire. What is it that really lights you up? Because when you're lit up, then you're a greater contribution to the world. But you're lit up when you can put food on the table for yourself and your kids, and be proud of yourself for that. Living your passion is a luxury for many. I mean, it's a luxury that many of your listeners have, doing what they love, but not everybody has that luxury.
And not everybody knows what it is, right? They don't know that it could be in their hands. Exactly. Right now, the big question I see all the time, because life coaching and business coaching, I've got to find my purpose. What do you think when a person asks you that, Deborah? I've got to find my purpose. Can you help me find my purpose?
Yeah, and I think that people have a wrong idea about purpose. That purpose is like, God's going to come down and say, this is your purpose, right? It's just not that way. I mean, I hate to tell you. The thing is that you do want to manifest something that makes your heart sing, that you're happy, because you wouldn't be listening to this conversation if you weren't one of those privileged people who has the luxury of doing something that you love and that makes you happy. But there's steps to it. I mean, that's what I teach. I teach the step-by-step formula to take yourself from where you are to where you want to be. All right. And again, if you weren't supposed to have that, you wouldn't be, there are no accidents. So this is not some accident that you're listening to this today. But in the meantime, the first step is put food on the table.
Yes.
And then the second step is, do one of the things that I recommend. And the other thing that I say is, an idea comes to you. If you have an idea for something that you want to create in the world, it comes to you because you're supposed to be manifesting it. That's why we all have different ideas. You have that idea to create this show, Inspirational Whispers. I didn't have that idea, but I believe that the Creator, the God of your understanding, whispers into your ear the idea that you were put on earth to manifest. Okay? Because I love the expression, it's true, God has no hands but yours. You have to be the vehicle through which the things that need to be manifested on earth are manifested. So I had the idea 40 years ago to teach success seminars. You didn't have that idea 40 years ago. You probably weren't even born. But that idea came to me because I believe that the Creator needed it manifested on the planet at this time. And if you don't listen to the whisper, and that doesn't mean that, all at once I'm teaching success seminars around the world. No, I had to take the steps. I had to study. I had to put the program together. I had to, and then I always say, then take a step from which there's no turning back, because I had all these stories about, I'm only 29. The only thing I've ever done is teach meditation. I have no college. My college degree was from Rileagh International University. I didn't know if that would be, I had all these reasons why I couldn't be successful. But I was also a product of the product that I was teaching. And that is, an idea comes to you. It's a gift from God because you're supposed to manifest it. So what I did was I took that step from which there was no turning back. And what that was I rented a room and I put up posters, because that's what we did back then. We put up posters, couldn't afford newspaper advertising. There was no internet. And another thing that I tell people, if they want to be successful, if they have a dream in their heart, don't go around telling everyone what you're going to do until you have significantly manifested. Because when your idea is a tiny seed that could be easily crushed, if you share it with people, they could turn out to be the discouragement committee. They could just crush your idea before it has time to take root.
And they don't mean to do it out of it, not meaning to go and, oh, you have an idea, let's go step on it. I'll give an example. My own mother, and love my mother, and she's a very creative person. But I, business major, I'm creating ideas. I'm going to start this business. I come home, share it with my mom, and my mom would be like, "Well, you can't do that. You'd have to quit your job. You'd have to do this. You'd have to." And one day I had to say, I cannot share my ideas with you anymore because they're not even started yet, and you're stifling them. And it was quite an awakening to have that conversation for both of us, that, hey, so I agree with you. There's a time and place to share those ideas, and you've got to get the foundation, the roots really going before you can show, like, hey, here's my baby. I did it.
And those people, it's interesting. I call them the discouragement committee, and more often than not, they're family members. Why would you do a podcast on leadership? There are already 100 podcasts on leadership. Yeah, there are, but they're not you. If that idea came to you, it's because you're supposed to be teaching people leadership. So don't share your ideas with the discouragement committee. When I didn't, and I rented the room and I put up the posters, and when people, friends saw posters that said, Deborah, my name was Olson at the time, Deborah Olson to teach seminars and saying yes to success, using the power of your mind to say yes to success. They were like, oh, come on, nobody's going to come to something like that. That's ridiculous. This was 1980. But I had already put up the posters. So an idea comes to you because you're supposed to manifest it. What is sacred must be kept secret. Don't go around telling everybody what you're going to do until you have significantly manifested it. And then take a step from which there's no turning back. Because if the discouragement committee shows up and you've already rented the room and put up the poster, there's nothing you could do. You got to go do it. And in my case, there was standing room only. So obviously the discouragement committee was wrong.
Yes, absolutely. And taking that moment to remind yourself to have that courage to step and take that action where there's no turning back. That action is so amazing. And you know, whatever happens after that moment, whatever happens, you can be proud because you were courageous. Oh, wow, what a fantastic, an inspirational story that you've lived.
And I'll tell you something else that's interesting. I happen to have standing room only when I went. So obviously that was confirmation from the universe. But I'll never forget another inspirational teacher named Barbara DeAngelis. You might know her. She wrote lots of best-selling books. And I remember one time she was a dear friend, and I was at an event. It was in Vail. And there were John Gray, who was her former husband, was also speaking at that event. They weren't married anymore, okay? And John gave this talk, and after his talk was over, you know, people were running to the back of the room, you know, to sign up for whatever he had to offer, right? And then Barbara gave her incredibly brilliant talk, and there were like 10 people that went to the back of the place to sign up. And I said to her, how does it make you feel that, you know, he had all these people and you had 10 people? And she looked at me, she goes, how does it make me feel? I'm ecstatic that 10 people found their teacher.
Oh, beautiful.
So it's not necessarily that you need standing room only. There are people who were born in this lifetime who are here on earth because you are meant to change their lives. You are meant to be their chiropractor. You are meant to be their real estate agent. Find them the perfect house. You are meant to be their teacher that teaches them how to parent more effectively. Even though there are 1,000 other people who teach effective parenting. People come in with a contract in this lifetime, and they're waiting for you. The only thing they won't wait for you is for you to stop pretending that, oh, me, I'm the one that's supposed to teach parenting. Little old me. Yeah, the idea came to you. So get going, because there are people waiting.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's something that it's an interesting phenomena that people, maybe it came from social media, but I think it happened way before social media, that getting out there is really hard. And we are so afraid of that judgment. But we have to remember that we don't want to worry about the people that judge. That's not where our audience is. Our audience is right beside those people that need us, that are beyond that level. Wow. And I love what she said. How did you feel when she said it?
Well, you mean what Barbara said to me? It changed my life.
Yeah.
Because I've offered things, and I've had a handful of people. I've offered things, I've had thousands of people. I don't have the thousands of people. I'm like, okay, but these people have found their teacher. Thank you. And I always have gratitude. Thank you to the God of my understanding for each soul that has come into my orbit and wants their life to be shifted by the knowledge that I offer. But I also agree, Rileagh, it's so crazy how people, they, twist themselves into a pretzel to, not fail. God forbid somebody will look at you and think you failed. And the truth, and so many of us spend our lives not taking a risk because of what we're afraid it will look like to other people if we fail, when the truth is you're holding up your life for what these people might be thinking. they're not even thinking about you. They're
No,
busy
no, they're
thinking about themselves and what other people are thinking about them,
not.
and they
About them.
stop your life, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I think William Shakespeare said it really well, and I'm paraphrasing what he said. He said, "A coward dies 1,000 deaths, but a brave man only one." And anytime we look at we're stepping out there, I always think that's it. We're dying. Either we're going to choose to die 1,000 times, or we're going to choose to live that life we're meant to live. And that's powerful stuff. So, Deborah, we only have 3 minutes left here, and any last thoughts you'd love to leave with our audience?
Oh wow, that's a good one. Yes, and I'll tell you what it is. It's that one of the things that people don't do, and I wish they would, is listen more to your intuition. Because sometimes, that our heart says something to us, and we're like, really? That's what I'm supposed to do? But your heart will never betray you. And I always tell people, when you're trying to make a decision and you're trying to make it up in your brain, move your attention physically from your physical brain to your physical heart. Breathe into that heart and ask, what is the highest good that I can do right now? What is the highest path for my good, for the good of the world that I can take right now? And always act on your intuition, because I have had hundreds of students who have said to me, I didn't listen to my intuition and I wish I would have, but I have never had one that said, I listened to my intuition and I wish I wouldn't have. Not one.
I love that. Not one, not a one, and I believe that absolutely. Oh, beautiful. Well, I'd like to know what's next for you. I mean, what have you been doing? What's happening in this next year in 2022 here? What's next for you?
Well, my signature program, which is called Yes to Success, and that I started teaching in 1980. I always do at least 2 Yes to Success seminars every year. They're 10 weeks online. But I've also been teaching in honor of my almost 70th birthday. I also started teaching a course called Ageless, which is anti-aging secrets for your brain, your body, and your future. This is really me. This is not like the
Yeah.
knife, but and this is really my hair. But there are anti-aging secrets, and it's not only just diet and exercise, but those are really important. Meditation, stress release. So I teach a course with a um, uh, Harvard trained researcher who does research on anti-aging. We teach a course called Ageless together. And I'm just ecstatic about it because we've taught it a couple times and people are just turning their lives around. It's not just for people who are in their 60s or their 70s, because you have to start doing these things in your 30s or your 20s if you don't want to have like Alzheimer's or senile dementia, or even things like macular degeneration. Don't wait until you're in your 60s or 70s,
Start
or
now.
wrinkled skin. You have to start learning what to do now. So I'm ecstatic about that. And what else is for me is just loving life and being with my kids, and my foster kids have children of their own. I just took them to the water park
Oh,
last weekend. We had a blast. So all the things that make me happy, and spending
beautiful,
time
beautiful.
with people like you.
Oh, thank you. And I just say, and you'll of course keep listening to your inspiration. I know you will because that's what you're doing anyway. So beautiful. I'd like to invite the audience, if you want to get a hold of Deborah, please go to yesforsuccess.com. Also,
Yes,
she has a YouTube channel.
yes
Sorry.
to success.
Sorry.
You said
To
yes for
success. My
success.
apologies.
Common
Yeah.
mistake.
Yeah, sorry. Yes to success.com to check her out and look at what's coming up. Also, you can find her on YouTube. She has some great meditations and some beautiful talks to expand on what she spoke about today. And I just want to thank you so much, Deborah, for being with us today.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure, and lots of love to your audience and, of course, to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you again for watching Inspirational Whispers. In a world where inspiration is so needed and purpose is so needed, we find it to help you change your life. Remember, it only takes a whisper to change the vibration of somebody's life. I'm your host, Coach Rileagh T. Chase. Thanks for watching.